It is no secret that two parts of the Maine economy that have boomed in recent years are craft breweries and marijuana dispensaries. What you might not have known is that a publication devoted to covering their stories just celebrated its first anniversary. Its name is Beer and Weed.
You know, we have money in the bank. We did better than break even in year one. And, the reception has been good. That's all we really cared about.
In this digital age, Beer and Weed's backers are proud to be putting out a print magazine. It has a website, but very little of its content is posted there.
Because we believe in print magazines. We wanted to put together something, beautiful that you hold on to. People talk about it all the time. I say you gotta feel it to believe it.
You can't judge a magazine by its title. Well, actually, you can. Food and Wine, Travel and Leisure, Sky and Telescope. With Beer and Weed, you've got a name that's so simple it has a touch of poetry. But it's also telling you with a bit of a wink that it's not going to be pretentious.
It's meant to send the message that at the end of the day, it's just beer and weed. It's a lifestyle magazine for people that make beer and weed part of their lifestyle. I don't think we are going to be the publication for people who just want to see how stoned they can get. That's not the idea.
There is a lot of beer journalism out there in this country. There's not nearly as much journalism about cannabis. When you tell people you want to write in a serious way about weed, what is the reaction? Do they kind of snicker? Do they roll their eyes? Or do they embrace it?
Well, I don't think they snicker at all, really. The people who are in the industry of cannabis take it very seriously. And a lot of that comes from the fact that, it started out as a medical establishment, most of these places, right? We've had medical cannabis in Maine for 10 years. And if you are going to say that you're medicine, you have to make sure that you are delivering a product that people can find consistent, it does what you tell them to do, it addresses the symptoms that they care about. And I think that's what's made the quality of the rec program in Maine so high, right? So if you talk to people down in Massachusetts, they say, okay, yeah, we've got legal weed down here, but we drive up to Maine because the quality is so much better. And it's because there's that sort of culture of quality in the cannabis industry up here.
When you think about what you want to put in an issue every month, what is sort of bouncing around in your head? What are the stories you want to tell?
Well, ultimately we want to tell stories about people. Beer and cannabis is only so interesting. It's about the people who use them and what you do while you're having a beer, what you do while you're smoking some cannabis or however you're enjoying it. So a lot of times it's musicians who happen to use cannabis, or it's artists who happen to, have a favorite beer, or whatever it happens to be. And there's really no shortage. It's one of those things where, you have 10 stories and you can fit 4.
In Maine alone, there are more than 150 craft breweries right now. You could write about one a month and not exhaust them for more than 12 years. Cannabis dispensaries are something that people aren't as familiar with. How many cannabis dispensaries are there in the state?
I don't know if anybody knows the answer. Storefronts where you can walk in with either a medical card or if it's adult use, just walk in. We think probably 300. We think probably 50 adult use places opened in the last month. So there's, that one opened right there 2 months ago.
You literally can open the window
can see one.
and chuck a tennis ball
Exactly,
out, and you're going to hit a cannabis dispensary.
Exactly.
And that wasn't planned. That's just the way it happened.
It's just the way it happened. And Portland, it's business, right? It's capitalism. Portland, I think probably maybe has 40 shops right in the city limits now. Are they all going to survive? Who knows? And that's part of what we're trying to do. We're trying to, in the same way that you want to be able to sort of understand what a good craft beer is, what goes into making it, how you sort of discern a good one versus a bad one. You don't just look at the can theoretically. We want to give people information to make good decisions about their cannabis.
You had to stop and think about something before you committed to this, because one of the other hats you wear is in the local school system.
Yes.
What do you do in your town?
Yeah, well, I'm the chair of the school board for MSAD 15 in Gray New Gloucester. And 100%, I run a publication about beer and weed. Definitely, I was a little nervous about that, how it would be received. People have been really encouraging. I actually had, one of our administration say, congratulations on the new magazine. My son runs a dispensary. And I was like, oh my God, I had no idea. So I think that's part of what we're trying to do too, is allow it to be mainstreamed.
It's impossible to predict what's going to happen to the publication in the years ahead, but at least for now, you've got those business deductions, right? That come
That's
in
right,
really
yes.
handy.
I mean, there are certainly worse things to cover, right? So I've been a journalist for a long time. I've had to make money writing about lasers and boats and security and privacy and all these things. I can say it's pretty enjoyable to go to a brewery and have a meal and have a flight and drink a few beers and be able to write it off for Uncle Sam. There's nothing wrong with that.